Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. We will present about material for the teaching of grammar. Okay, before I start, I would like to introduce our group members. First is Ranita Kilana, the second is Pawestri Socaningrum, and third is Putri Indah Lestari, and last is Rahmi Sakinah. Alright, for the first material will be presented by me. It is self-evident that the development of grammatical competence has an important role in second or foreign language learning. However, despite the advent of the so-called communicative approach over recent years, and despite the daily evidence offered by learners that the difficulty they encounter in using another language to encode their own meaning, they largely to do with lexics and with phonology. The dominance of grammar in teaching material remains high, to the point of obsessions. Furthermore, examinations for material for grammar in coursebook and supplementary material reveals that concern with grammatical form continue to take precedence over meaning considerations. As long ago as 1990, Widowson argued that restricting attention to grammatical form is insufficient. If one looks at the majority of practice material offered to learners, single sentence practice, random transformations, exercise, wordly and inaccurate rules, etc., it's hard not to conclude that the realizations and reconstructions to which Widowson refers as to when and where the grammar practice might actually be employed, they mostly left to the learners themselves to come to. Example of this would be the common practice of teaching and practicing short forms such as yes I am or no I'm not as the response to open-ended questions to be discussed in more detail later in these chapters, and that of asking learners to transform sentence in actively voiced or into passive voice. Classroom teachers producing their own material for use with their own students perhaps have the greatest chance of innovating and certainly have the best opportunity to take into account the learners themselves. So the innovations that has a great opportunity is when the teacher produces his own material to be applied to students. The writer of material for the teaching and learning of grammar has a number of considerations to take into account. These include 1. The age and level of learners who will be using the materials. 2. The extent to which any adopted methodology meets the expectations of learners, teachers, and the educational culture. 3. The extent to which any context to CO text which are employed in order to present the grammar area. 4. The nature of grammatical area to be dealt with in terms of their form, inherent meaning implications, and how they used in normally occurring spoken. 5. The extent to which any language offered to the learners for them to examine the grammar. And last, any difficulties that learners can be expected to encounter when learning this area of grammar. Okay, I think that's all of my presentations. The next material will be presented by Pawestri Sacaningrum. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Pawestri Socaningrum. So I would like to continue my friend's presentation. While in the next material, I would like to explain about design material for classroom, which is of relevance to learner. So the first, in teaching grammar can be used conversationally. The learner are presented with exchange such as we can use a simple or basic conversation like what's your name, how old are you, and where do you live. And then second, in virtually all grammar materials and which is revert to ask short answer. For example, are you student? Yes, I am. Is your father a doctor? No, he is not. Is your father a teacher? Yes, he is. And then the following practice of past simple learner are asked to ask and answer with partner are given the prompt. So the statement is play football yesterday. So the answer is, did you play football yesterday? Yes, I did. So the answer is yes, I did. And then the short answer in context disagree or correcting or giving a contrary opinion. For example, in context disagree, you are late. No, I'm not. It's only 8:30. So in context no, I'm not is explain or express contact disagree. And then another example in context correcting. Neil, young Americans? No, he isn't. He is Canadian. So in this context, no in here is express or express content disagree or correcting. Okay, in the next slide, what is reported speech and direct speech report? According to Willis 1990, reported speech is, among other, has argued that it's unnecessary to treat this as an area of language with its own spirit, existence, and set of rules. So what is direct speech report? According to Bieber 1919, direct speech reporting where the speaker gives an apparently verbatim report of the someone said. So it's an important and recurrent feature of conversation. So in the next slide, in making reported speech sentence, we will find things such as the ability to select a verb which reflect how the reporter view the original speech. For example, say, tell, explain, suggest, admit, and ask. And the second, knowledge of the implication of the verb selection for the following structure. For example, he asked me if or he asked me to. To make it clear, I would like to give an example. Father asked me open the door. So indirect, we put to for the sentence. So the sentence become father asked me to open the door. Another example, mother asked me, are you sick? And the answer is mother asks me if. So we put if in the sentence become mother asked me if I was sick. So in this question sentence, indirect speech must be changed to positive sentence by using if to connect the sentence. Ability to refer to periods of time. For example, yesterday, tomorrow, in 3 weeks. Yesterday can be changed at the day before. Tomorrow can be changed the following or 3 weeks. Tomorrow can be changed the following day. In 3 weeks' time can be changed or in 3 weeks' time can be changed the 3 weeks later. And then the verb selected for reporting is followed by that. The statement is mother said I'm sick. Sentence we need to use that. So we need to use that. The sentence become mother said that she was sick. And then in the next slide, we need to know in changing direct speech to indirect speech. There are two kinds, the verb tense and the time phrase. If the verb tense selects the tense rather than transform from one to another. Native speaker of English will be aware of the effect of different choice in. For example, the statement is, he said, I'm coming. So he said that he was coming. Then time phrase, reported of speech act which revert tomorrow. Like I said before, tomorrow can be changed the following day, and then yesterday can be changed the day before. And then in 3 weeks' time can be changed the 3 weeks later. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation. The next presentation will be explained by my friends Putri Indah Lestari. So, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, I will continue the previous speakers to explain about this material. So let me share the screen. Okay, the preceding argument about reported speech certainly claims that traditional approaches do not get to the heart of the matter and treat it as bitty and arbitrary. However, this does not necessarily mean, as one implies, that no problems will remain. Teaching is required as suggested above. What is debatable is what the teaching should work on. Okay, much grammar practice in the area of reported speech is of the kind which requires learners to take a given utterance in direct speech and transform it into reported speech, and to do so by shifting the verb tense. Okay, transformation exercise. We might add that transformation grammar exercise, whether for reported speech, the passive, or other grammar area, require language learners to make decisions and produce language. And what alternatives are there to transformation exercise? According to Lewis in 1993, points a possible way forward with a call for an emphasis on grammar as a receptive skill and has an important role to play. All right, the notion of grammar as receptive skill is not necessarily a new one. A new one exercise have been produced and published over the years and also have an argument. However, been made for a conscientious adoption of receptive grammar on a theoretical basis, as for example, by Batson in 1996, who argues learners may need time to make sense of new language before they are asked to make sense with it. This is an argument to receptive tasks to be clearly distinct from productive tasks, and for the former to precede the latter. Following this train of thought, and with the goal of helping learners see what choices are available or not with regard to tense selection in a reported speech, one might design a receptive grammar activity which encourage learners to look at example of utterances containing reported speech and to find criteria for categorizing them. Such an exercise could take the following form. Okay, number one, I talked to James last week. He said he was not going to Sao Paulo after all, so we went for a beer on Saturday. Number two, Alan called. He said he couldn't ring you last week because he had to go to Paris unexpectedly. Can you get in touch with him? Number three, I talked to Paul yesterday. He said he isn't working for the bank anymore. Did you know? Number four, Sarah called me this morning. She said she is not coming to the meeting tomorrow, but she will email you the information. Okay? Number five, when I talked to Sarah yesterday, she said she was sending the information by email. I don't know why it has not arrived yet. Number six, there is a Mr. Johnson outside who wants to see you. He said it is urgent. Number seven, I saw John Joan this morning. She doesn't look well. She said she has not eaten for a week. Number 8. I phoned the electrician, but he said he couldn't come until the following week, so I fixed it myself. Seems to be working. Okay. As you can see, sentences number 1, 2, 5, and 8 all illustrate a speaker's use of past form in reporting speech, while number 3, 4, 6, and 7 illustrate the use of present tense form, including, in the case of number 7, present perfect. Okay, the fact that some reported speech operates with past tense and others with present, for them to begin and perceive why this is so, a further exercise will most likely be required on a receptive level and possibly along the following lines. Look at the underlying parts of this conversation. Which things do the speakers think are still true, and which thing do they think are not true anymore? The first one, A. I asked the new guy, Rolf, where he is from. He said he is German. B. German? Roland told me he was Swiss. Number 2, A. John's just born. He said he is coming at 11. B. That's strange. When I rang him yesterday, he said he was coming at 10. Number 3, A. Joan said she's going to France for her holidays. B. Oh, really? She is always changing her mind. 2 weeks ago, she said she was going to Italy. Number 4, A. I can't believe you reordering sushi. You told me you didn't like Japanese food. B. No, I didn't. I said I don't mind it now and again. And then an exercise such as this engage learners in a cognitive activity which will not suit all learners. It is certainly not easy. It requires the teacher as well to be aware of such things as the use of past tense, not only as device for temporal distancing, but also for psychological distancing. According to Lewis, 1986. The use of present tenses for temporal and psychological proximity in order to help learners perceive this. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation. Let me bring back to moderator. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Rani Sakina. I will continue to explain about the material from Wheels about learning the distinction between aspect of grammatical system is the fundamental to excited grammar learning and control distinction between active and passive voice, or the use of will or going to are other example of this. Talking about noun phrase, but making a comment which is applicable to many other grammar areas. Most of these exercises are conscious rising activities. The complexity and predictability of this language are such that we can over no prescription. For example, number 1, I invite Jim to the party tonight. He said want or wanted to come. And number 2, John going to live in the New York next year. It's old because last year he told me he is going or was going to stay in London. Number 3, don't worry mom, that said he will or will pick me up from school this afternoon. And number 4, I don't know why Jimmy doesn't come to the party. Yesterday he said he's wanted to come. This exercise, a problem such as several examples allow more than one possible choice. Many people have considerable difficulty accepting exercise which do not have a clearly demarcated right or and a wrong answer. Unfortunate and Unfortunately, however, language and that include grammar is frequently not a matter of correct or incorrect, possible or not possible. That exercise above move away from the right or wrong syndrome, and this will be unacceptable to many users. However, asking learners to consider which is more likely or appropriate allow them to perceive that choices are available and that there are a subtle meaning difference between the choice. Okay, next, based on a corpus of over 14 million words, provide a statistical as how language is used. Slowing, for example, that will is surprising more frequently used than going to, and then the modal, will, would, can, and could are far more common than other members of that group. The conclusion, we wish a grammar material to reflect actual language use. Okay, I think that's all. Thanks for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.